Greetings, everyone, and a warm welcome to another edition of Marketing the Invisible. I'm Tom Poland, beaming out to you from the sunny Sunshine Coast here in Australia, joined today by Pat Helmers. Pat, warm g'day from down under, sir. Where are you hanging out?
Well, I'm on the sunny coast of Lake Michigan, near Chicago.
So, and it is sunny on the coast there, Lake Michigan.
It's although it's November, it's actually been a nice day today. It's
perfect.
It did snow last week, but today is in the 60s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's nice.
Well, look, thanks for turning up, Pat. For those who don't know Pat, he's the software engineer turned startup sales manager. That means he's got an ability for clinical dissection of what's going on in a sales process. So he can unpack that just the same as a software engineer would be unpacking bugs from a line of code. He's dedicated himself to helping others find success using non-pushy sales. He's the author of a new book titled The Tao, T-A-O, The Tao of Sales Babble. Leads us nicely into the title of this little interview, which is How to Sell with the Tao of Sales Babble. Pat, let's get into it. I'm sure we'll unpack what the Tao of Sales Babble is on the way through, but let's kick off with question number one. Our 7 minutes starts now. Who is your ideal client?
The podcast is really centered on business to business people. People who are selling to other businesses. In fact, Tom, you've actually been a guest on Sales Babble.
I have.
So it was an
enjoyable experience too. It was fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And commonly these are difficult sales. They're enterprise sales. They're not one and dones. It's not like you can close them on the very first meeting. It takes a while to build a relationship and to figure out the organization that you're selling to. Commonly, people buy these products and services collectively, so they've got a way of doing things, and the seller is more or less kind of a shepherd to kind of shepherd this flock into a direction of making a decision that's good for them.
And so there are some real challenges in selling to those larger corporations, multiple stakeholders, perhaps committee meetings, advisory boards. You've already alluded to the fact that they might have protocols in place. This is how we do things around here. And so tell us, is the problem you solve, this is question 2, is it negotiating those hurdles? How would you define the problem that you solve for your ideal clients?
I think the biggest problem for them is to discover them and kind of coach them actually to be fully understanding their own problems and their own challenges and their own aspirations. Lots of times people haven't really fully thought that out. What they've done is they've like, oh, there's a solution. I wonder if that's it, and kind of run towards that. And as a sellers, our job is really to like kind of dig deeper into that and to truly understand what are the things that they really want to get to, where do they want to be, and sellers often are poor at doing that, and buyers oftentimes are poor at doing that.
Yeah, I do 100%. It's normally a bit of a mess at both sides.
It is.
So
it's the blind leading the blind.
Let's your ideal client. What's going on? So question 3 is, what are the symptoms of people who are selling to larger corporations? How do they know they need what you've got? What are the symptoms of their day-to-day selling experiences?
Well, you could go through the whole process of sales and see struggles with that. A lot of people in the business space are really good at what they do, especially when it comes to smaller companies or founders or startups. They know their technology, or they know their skills, but they're terrible at selling. So they're afraid to pick up the phone. In business, the phone is still very, very powerful. We don't use the phones very often in private life, hardly anymore, but in business, it's really important. So they're afraid to pick up the phone. They're unsure what to say. People have a tend to vomit about their thing and not really ask a lot of questions about them. It turns out becoming very pushy and kind of like a lot of founders have a lot of hubris and think every issue out there they can solve. And then that's not the case at all. And then there's the discovery part. So that was the lead generation part. There's the discovery part where they don't ask the right kinds of questions to understand exactly what their issues are. There's the presentation part where they're not very good at giving the prospects, the buyers, an opportunity to ask all their questions completely and honestly, and be pretty frank what you can and can't do. And then a lot of people struggle with closing, and they don't really know how to ask for the job business. They're like the buyer's going, this looks like pretty good, that's pretty good, and sometimes people expect the buyer to like actually say, well, I'm going to buy, when in reality maybe it makes more sense for you to ask some closing kinds of questions in there. And if you do all the previous stuff right, these things kind of happen naturally.
Right.
In a quick 7 minutes. I guess that's about it.
Right. So there's a lot of symptoms there, folks, that
yes,
if you're listening to this, you'll be able to probably tick those boxes and go, yeah, that sounds like what I've been doing, what I've been experiencing. But you've also itemized some mistakes there. For example, people at the wrong time telling the prospect more about their products, as opposed to discovering what the prospect is after. Do you find one of the common mistakes is also that the person doing the selling is doing too much talking? Is that a big one?
Right. You should be doing probably 40% of the talking, getting them to talk 60%. In fact, the more they talk, the more likely they'll buy.
Right. Do you think, a bit of a curveball question, but do you think that it's feeling nervous in a sales conversation is what stimulates people to talk too much?
I think people don't empathize enough with their customers, with their prospects.
Right. So it's more about me, my products, what I want, as
and
opposed
not about
to
them
sitting in the seat of the person that.
I see this as a caregiving. I see the sales profession as almost like caregiving. We're like nurses. We're here to help people walk through. Right. We're like social workers.
Yeah. So if we truly care,
we're bartenders.
We're caring about people's. Yeah. we're caring about people's needs. We're caring about what they want. We're caring about what will work for them, and if our product or service is a fit, rather than caring more about selling something. Thanks for that, because I think that pulls back the lid on. It summarizes what you've been saying pretty well, and that is that it's the empathy, the discovery, the caring. What would you say is, there's so much to unpack here. I'm going to give you more resource in a second. But right now, Pat, what would you say would be one thing that someone listening to this could do, which would take them a step in the right direction of the Tao of Sales Babble? Not going to solve the whole problem, but it might take them a step in the right direction.
I think if you adopt an attitude of reciprocity, that I'm here to help them and they'll be helping you. If you have reciprocity in your head, then you won't be thinking about that it's a contest, that it's a competition. It's more of about partnership.
So go into it offering, helping and caring and asking, as opposed to just trying to flog a product. That's going to open the doors of reciprocity 9 times out of 10 with everyone apart from narcissists and sociopaths, and you don't want them as clients anyway. So let's give folk that resource. Where can people go to find out more? Because you've got such a terrific podcast. You're interviewing, with me as the exception, you're interviewing very interesting, people who can give a lot of valuable information. How can people go and sign up for your stuff?
It's easy peasy to find. If you go to salesbabble.com, I'm on all the podcast apps. I'm in Spotify, iTunes. Right. I'm easy peasy to find. The website's easy to find, and all the links that we have in there. Currently, I'm working on a book called The Tao of Sales Babble. I'm using the podcast as a way as a commitment device to make me write a little bit about it every week, and that has really been working.
Right. And, it's going to be the Tao Te Ching of sales, right?
This is the Tao Te Ching. It's Lao Tzu, where everything is interconnected. Everything is built upon one another.
Yeah. Love the Tao. All right. Last question, 25 seconds left. What's the one question I should have asked you but didn't? And the answer, please.
Can anybody be a good seller?
And?
Yes.
Yeah.
You may not be the greatest seller in the world, but I believe we have internally in us a desire to help others. Think about your family, your friends, and all the and all the people that matter in your life. If some terrible thing happened to them, you'd be quick to ask. You'd be quick to ask, how can I help? How can I help? How can I help?
Yeah.
If you take that attitude to your prospective buyers, you will find success.
It's going to help you relax as well during the process, because you're no longer focused on you and what you want. You're focused on helping others. Pat Helmers, thank you so much for your wisdom and your insights.
Tom, thanks for having me.
Thanks for checking out our Marketing the Invisible podcast. If you like what we're doing here, please head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review. It's very much appreciated. And if you want to generate 5 fresh leads in just 5 hours, then check out www.5hourchallenge.com.